He's been around for decades. Some very influential DJs call him their favorite DJ, among them Theo Parrish. So he's kind of a DJ's DJ, and he's one of the biggest record diggers in the world, which you can listen or witness in his DJ sets whenever you have the chance to. SADAR, that's your mic.
Testing. Hello, everybody. Pleasure to be here.
You were born in New Jersey, near New York City.
New Jersey.
You grew up in Chicago, though.
Yeah.
And just briefly, while we were coming from the airport, you were telling me about the difference. So maybe we can start that you explain or tell us what the music scene in Chicago was like that you grew up in.
Sure. Basically, growing up in Chicago is like people take the music real serious. And it's like, it's a lot of DJs in Chicago. So it's like always competition. So everyone's trying to find like that deep record or the heavy stuff that everyone else is not playing. Now, for a little while in Chicago, everybody was trying to play the same music, the same records. Everyone would just go like to imports or whatever, and we'd all play the same music. But after a while, you start noticing, you know, that don't really work because a lot of DJs get to become like favorites, and then you won't have no work. You'll be out of business because everyone's playing the same music. So it's good to kind of like get into your own and see what you really like, and that's what I fell into. I just started getting into like the deeper music that I was hearing nobody play, and I started noticing that a lot of people like that music as well. So it kind of took my life.
Was there ever a point where you thought, okay, I want to become a DJ?
Definitely. When I was young and I was coming up and just seeing the fun that a lot of the DJs was having and the joy and excitement that they could bring other people, and you know, sometimes you'd even see people crying at like the music box and stuff like that, and you'd be like, wow, like, am I missing something? And after a while, you start understanding and feeling the music, and it becomes like your culture, like part of your life and a lot of history. Like a lot of people who was dancing off a lot of these same records are not here anymore. And you know, sometimes now I can understand why somebody might hear something and it might bring a tear or something to their eye. You know, they thinking of another person who used to be dancing real crazy on this record or something like that. But
you were touching on some names, some famous clubs, and we had Ron Trent here a few months ago. He was also telling a lot about Chicago back then.
Yeah.
So Music Box, Warehouse, what was special about those places?
Well, really, I would say the thing that made the places real special was the parties became like a family environment. Like when you're partying every weekend and then sometimes during the week with the same people, you kind of get to know them. And after a while, it just becomes more than just a party. Like sometimes you might be at the party and you don't have nothing to do with the party, but the people who own it and throwing it, they see you all the time and it's real crowded. They're like, hey, come here. I need you to work the coat check, or I might need you to go in here and do this. And you're like, what? Like, but it's like they know you and you're like part of the party now. And it's like, it turns into something else.
How old were you then when you started going out?
I started too early. I grew up around a lot of older people, so they were always like, you know, you're not going to really understand this until you come to the party, until you come see this. So a lot of people were getting like fake IDs and things back in the days. I never had to do that because I was lucky enough to grow up around a lot of serious DJs. And they'd take you to the party and it's just like a life-changing experience. You know, at that time, you'd be seeing people like your father's age, you know, walking around like, yeah, singing the records, and you're a kid, like, what the, you know, like, how does he know this music? And, you know, how does he know this? And then as you start living it, you see like they did it before us. You know, if they didn't do it, we wouldn't know how to do it. So
what time are we talking?
This had to be like early 80s. Yeah.
Early 80s. All right. Did you bring a music from that time?
Let me check, see what I got here. Let me see, early 80s.
SADAR brought a lot of music, so I think we'll try to cover some ground musically as well.
Because like in the early 80s, we played a lot of like regular disco, like that you would find in like most houses, a lot of stuff like Donna Summer, Michael Jackson, but I didn't really bring no 80s music. I brought like a lot of serious stuff, like pretty much like what I'm playing now. The 80s was like a phase we went through, like with the disco era, and it was just like not just really like disco. We played like a lot of punk, like the Devo and the Whip It and the B-52s, Rock Lobster, but in Chicago it was like we all called everything kind of like house. Even though it wasn't house, it was like more punk. But that's just the way we kind of categorized everything. Like, this is nice, this is house. And we played it, mixed in our set.
And who were some of the DJs that influenced you back then?
So many. Back in that day, definitely Farley Keith, because he was coming on WBMX on the radio show all the time, and he was playing like a lot of music that a lot of younger kids like myself didn't get a chance to hear, because he was going to like a lot of the older parties. So he got familiar with like a lot of records we never knew about. Like stuff like back in the early 80s, like Hot Shot, Karen Young. We wasn't hearing that on the radio, and a lot of stuff like, what else was he playing? So many like imports, like a lot of European disco, Icy Love Affair, 7-7, Persia, Inch by Inch. He was playing like a lot of music we just didn't have. And then after you hear stuff like that, you want it. And then after you find that, you want something deeper than that. So it's like, it never stops. Like even now, I'm always in the record stores digging and listening to records and collecting, because it's like something you can't get rid of. It's a part of your life.
And you mentioned the name Deep a lot of times, and nowadays a lot of Deep House got really popular. Right. And a lot of people always think that's about having strings or long pads or being very melancholic, but that's not really what you understand with Deep.
It's like, when I was younger, what I considered like Deep House is not the same. Like the records that we were calling Deep House, of course, there was none of these records here now because they weren't invented back then. This was like the early 80s. So when we were talking about like Deep House, it was like records that nobody had. So let me see a good example. The Dells, No Way Back. Even though the Dells is a big group, that album with the No Way Back on there was real hard to find. Like no one ever had it. And then once Ron Hardy did like an edit of it, everybody was looking for it. And we could never find it. So then when you find something like that, or My Love Is Free, everybody would be like, oh man, that's deep. Like, that's deep. But now, now it's like, of course, everything is getting categorized. It's like soul, house, tech, deep house, soulful house, all these different things. We didn't really categorize it like that. We were just like disco, house, soul, rock, reggae. It was like not so categorized.
So did you bring one of those deep house tracks from back in the day?
Let me see what I got here. Something that someone would know.
Come on, you're a pro digger, so this is just a small bag. Was there ever a moment where you said, or when this really dig-in vibe kicked in, where you said, all right, that's all I want to do, like basements, getting my fingers dusty, that's my passion?
It's like when the older guys started saying things like, like, what do you know about this? Or, like, let me hip you to this. Or have you ever heard this? And you always be like, no, I haven't heard that, but it's nice, I want that. It kind of like turns you on to like trying to find that kind of music. And when you start finding it, and then you come to the older guys and be like, have you heard this? And they be like, no, I haven't heard that, but I want it. You start seeing that, okay, it's not an old thing, it's a people thing. Like if you get out there and find the music first, it's the same thing that you're feeling, they're feeling. So it's just really about who's the most serious in collecting and digging. And after a while, it really becomes like a sickness. It's like you can't stop. You see records and you like, I got a copy of that, but everybody's looking for it. Maybe I should get it again because I could trade it, or maybe I could sell it, or, I'm not going to see it again at this price. So you go get it. And, after a while, you turn around. Like I've had like people come over my house and be like, where did you get all of these records? Like, there's a couple of record stores. Like, you will never play this many records in your life. And I'm like, I wasn't trying to do that. I'm not just out here like, hey, I'm going to fill up this room with records, then I'm going to fill up the next room with records. It wasn't like that. You were just like, I'm going to get the pieces that I need to get ready for war. Like, when you got a DJ battle or do whatever, you want to have the records. And after a while, it's like you were in competition with yourself. You know, it's like you're still doing this, and some people done stopped, and some people done gave you their collections, and you still like, you know, waiting for this guy to come beat you up on the old school music, and it just don't happen.
I didn't want to interrupt you while you're searching for the deep house tune that you wanted to play to us.
Okay, let me see. Like, to me, this would be considered like deep house. This is something that you don't hear DJs in Chicago playing or really nowhere else. This is a record that was only released on 7-inch on 45 called Africana, Open Your Heart. But this here is a special edit that some friends of mine released on 12-inch.
That's from when?
This is like, it's a 70s record, but they released it like in 2000.
So we just witnessed the typical SADAR Bahar smile that is so infectious that it fills the entire room with laughter. How do you do that?
It's like when you're doing something that you really love to do, it's like, it's amazing, you know. When I was growing up as a kid, collecting records and things like that, I never thought that I'd be doing this for a profession. You know, it was just something that you love to do. And then it's like funny now, I sit back and I see it's not just me who understand that everything has changed. Like, I keep a lot of records at my mom's house in her basement. And of course, my house is full of records, so I can't like put nothing else in my house. And it's funny, I remember when my mom used to be like, when I was a kid, like, you know, don't bring one more record in this house, you know, like, you know, don't bring any more records in. And now it's funny, I see my little nieces and nephews growing up and they come over to my mom's house and I hear her like, you know, don't go in the basement, Sunhouse records are down there. You know, it's like, she turned from not caring about them to now she protects them, like, you know, don't mess with his stuff, you know. It's real funny. It's a cool experience.
Digging for records, I guess it was very different 20 or 30 years ago.
Yes.
You would say that Discogs, eBay, and all those online platforms have ruined it in a way?
Well, not really ruined it because they kind of help. Like with some people, like, you know, if you're looking for records and you might live in a place where there's not a lot of old records and things like that, a lot of old record stores or thrift stores. And so you can go online and find these same records, but it's going to cost you, you know, because if they got to go find these records and dig them out for you, they're going to make you pay a lot extra for them. So like, you know, a lot of records, you know, I've seen like $100, $200 for like some 7 inches. I'll go to like a record fair or a thrift store and you see the same records for like 50 cents, $1, and you're like, wow, you know, let me get 3 of these, or, you know, let me take all of these, you know, because you can always use them to trade or, you know, do other things with. But the record game has really changed, you know. when I was growing up, a lot of records weren't real expensive. So, you know, people come over and they see your collection. They like, man, you got 20 of these? And you're like, yeah, but I didn't pay $1,000 a piece. They were like $1 in New York, you know, when I was a kid, you know. So it's a lot different now.
When you travel the world and you go to all those different record stores, what is it that you're looking for? Do you go by cover? Do you go by genre? Do you just go through all the bins anyways?
It's everything. It's like certain artists that I know and like the groups that I know and the record labels that I know, of course, I always go for them first. But it's so much undiscovered music. You know, like I have people come to me in Chicago like, yeah, you got everything. And I'm like, no, you could never have everything. I'm like, why I'm talking to you is somebody making something that we both going to want. You know, it's like, it doesn't stop. So it's like you never stop digging and you never stop discovering.
And when you listen to the tunes, what is it that catches your attention?
Most of the time, it's just like the music. You know, it can be the singing. It could be the musician. You know, I love to hear somebody going crazy on the piano or the guitar or the drums, the bass. You know, it's like I never really could get into like the electronic music like that. You know, I'm like, when it first started really getting popular in the 80s, I would come hear like some of my friends' tracks and things like that. And it's like, it's okay, you know, but he got his little sister singing, you know. I'm like, we got people out here like Minnie Riperton, Aretha Franklin, you know, I don't really want to hear your little sister sing, you know. But, you know, not meaning disrespectful, but, you know, it's just like, I guess it's a time and place for everything, but I'm still trying to find all of these hard, rare artists. I mean, people that can sing and almost bring tears to your eyes, you know, who does that for a living, where their voice is almost like an instrument. And I'm like, you know, when you've been growing up, like my favorite female artist is Minnie Riperton. And I'm like, when you're listening to music like that, it's hard to just turn around and listen to something else and be like, yeah, that's nice or good, because then you're not being honest or genuine, you know. So I always try to tell people the truth, like if they play something that's nice, yeah, I like it, or no, I don't like it. You know, it doesn't sound good.
But your neighbor's little sister could be the next Minnie Riperton, so do you also give new artists a chance?
And that is true. If she can sing, I'm going to be like, man, that's your little sister? Wow, she can sing. You know, like she needs to be out here doing other things, but a lot of times it's not like that. Yeah. And sometimes you can find like a good musician. Like I done heard like some of the new kids on the piano, because recently, since I've been in Amsterdam a lot, I've been hanging out at this little studio in Utrecht with my friend Ben, and we've been doing music and everything, but it's an all analog studio. So it's like, I mean, every drum machine you can imagine, I mean, just everything, he has it. He has like the old stuff from Giorgio Moroder, like that he did the Donna Summer albums with. He has like the Plum machine that Michael Jackson and Prince and them used. I mean, it's like everything you can imagine. And then you come outside, like to have a cigarette break or something, and there's all these other artists, because it's like 16 studios in one. They call it Kytopia and Utrecht. So we might be like, man, we need a bass player. And then like a little guy is here like, well, I was trying to do an intern here at the studio, I play the bass, and we bring him upstairs, and he jumps right in the track like, I mean, playing the bass like a serious disco bass player. So, you know, it's like, a lot of the new talent is real cold, but I'm saying I haven't heard a lot of it like back in the days. Now I'm starting to hear a lot of new talent that I really, really like and really approve of.
So you think that they should be doing their homework by practicing a bit more? Or?
Yeah, I mean, anything that you love to do and anything that you want to do, you give it your all. You know, you can't sit back and be like, you know, well, I sound better than the next guy. You know, these guys can't mess with me, because there's always somebody out there who's taking this real serious, and then you're going to get up there and he's going to take you out. You know, so it's like whatever you love to do, give it all your might and see what you can do with it.
We were talking about rare records. Why is it important to play rare records? Is it just about to impress other people that it's so rare? Or?
It's not really just a rare record, because a rare record really is like anything to somebody else that they haven't heard, you know, something they don't know about that's rare to them. And a lot of these records, like a lot of the best records that has like a lot of good music to them, the labels are real small. So some of these records never made it to 12 inches or albums or to the radio, but they're good. You know, whoever was in the office that day saying, okay, this is good, this is not, this is good, he can't pick for everybody, you know, because some records, you know, people might make and people might be like, that's terrible. He might be a million people that be like, that's great and I love it. And then now, you know, he's traveling and doing whatever because everyone loves his music. That's why I say you have to do you. You have to do what you feel and what you like, because there's going to be a lot of other people out there that's like you. It might not be the masses of everybody, because when I was coming up, everyone was starting to get into a lot of the house real heavy, and a lot of the disco was not like the thing anymore. You know, they were burning disco records in Comiskey Park and tearing up a lot of stuff saying disco is over. But, you know, to me, I was like, disco is just starting. You know, the disco that you're burning and tearing up is not the disco that I'm playing. You know, you playing a lot of top 40s and sing-along disco, and I'm playing records that you never heard. So it's not the same.
So play us a disco tune that you think is
Rare?
important, maybe also rare.
Cool. Now, this is a rare record, like something you don't really see in the stores or anything like that. And if you find it on eBay or something like that, or one of the collector sites, it'll probably be like $1,000.
Don't fight it, don't fight it, don't fight the feeling. Don't fight it, don't fight it, don't fight the feeling. Don't fight it, don't fight it, don't fight the feeling. Don't fight it, don't fight it, don't fight the feeling.
When you're dancing on that disco floor, everybody keeps coming back for more. Oh baby, don't fight, don't fight, don't fight, don't fight the feeling. You know, I know, we know that you need it. When you're moving, instead of steady grooving, keep on doing what
So I guess Shazam is not going to help us with this one.
And that's what's funny too. I like that Shazam, because people, you will see them like standing in the parties with their telephone and stuff by the speaker. They'd be like, and they just give you that look like, man, come on, you know. But it's like, to me, when a person comes up and he asks me, you know, like, man, what's that? I want to see it. I have no problem with giving him the cover or letting him learn the record or see what it is, because it was the same way with me when I was coming up. I come to a lot of DJs, sometimes they would tell you and then sometimes they wouldn't, you know, and that hurts when someone won't tell you the artist, and I'm like, you didn't make the record, you know, why can't I go find one, you know? They just like, you know, you're not ready for this yet, you know, so yeah, it was hard going up to Chicago trying to find music.
Yeah, I guess so. Well, when you build your sets, you're always singing along. How important are the lyrics to you?
It's like, it's personal. It's like when you hear music and an artist, I mean, and you can feel the music and feel that artist, it makes you want to sing and learn the lyrics. And it's been like that, like ever since I was a kid in Chicago. Like, you know, we weren't practicing other languages, but, you know, we were singing stuff like Stop Beijing, you know, in French, and Stop Encore, you know, Italian records, and we wouldn't know what we were saying. We were just singing what the record was singing. Then, you know, later on, as you get older, people start breaking it down to you like, you know, this is my language, and this is what he's saying, and you're like, oh, that's what I've been singing for 20 years, you know, but it's funny. It's like, when you hear a record, it takes you, and you want to learn every part. I mean, I do. I want to learn every part of it. It's fun to sing along with the artists, even though you can't sing as good as them. It's good just to sing it, you know. Enjoy your life. Have fun, you know what I'm saying? Life is short. And that's something that I learned to do, you know, when I was young. I come to the parties. I wasn't looking around to see like how many people on the dance floor or what's going on. When the DJ started, he was playing music I like, I started dancing. And then before you know it, it's like no room to dance. So you're like, wow, everyone's dancing now, but enjoy life.
Do you have any way how you build your sets? Like something that's in your head where you say, okay, at this time I'm going to build it up like this?
Never, because it's like when I know what I'm going to play, like it takes the fun out of it. It's like you like everything to be new, you know, and fresh. So it's like once I pack my record bag, I know I got slow stuff, medium stuff, fast stuff. But once I get to the party, you never know what's going to go which way or what order or if anything, even going to get played that night. Sometimes you be like, oh, I can't wait to play this record. And you never play it, and it's like you back on the plane and you like, man, I never played this. But it's like you go off of the crowd, when you see them screaming and giving you that energy, you want to kind of keep it on that level. So you try to think of the next record that's kind of like that record that they might enjoy, that they never heard, or some of them might have heard, I've been places where I'd be like, I know they never heard this, and play it, and 4 or 5 people are singing it, so you just never know.
Do you have any secret weapons in case a crowd is not responding in the way that you expect?
Well, luckily I've never had that problem, but when I did a Lowlands Festival last year, I was a little nervous because the DJ that was on before me was like pressing buttons and stuff on some box, like they were all like, yeah. And I'm like, wow, do they know what I played? Like, they're about to either boo me or throw a shoe or something, and it was like from first record, they were like, ah, having a good time. And that's something that I learned, also from traveling the world, is that, a lot of people out here really just come out to enjoy themselves and have a good time. In Chicago, it's like so serious. Everyone's critiquing every little thing, was that on beat? How long did you hold that beat? Or, everyone's like, because it's full of DJs. So everyone's so serious. So when you're in Chicago and you get real serious like that, then you come out and you see other DJs who will play a record to it almost go off, then play another record. You like, they didn't boo them or, they didn't attack them. And, and it's like, wow. And you start realizing that some people really just come out to have a good time. I think in Chicago, you have people that come out to have a good time, but you also have a lot of people that come out to like critique you and just like see what you're doing and criticize. And
well, you play a lot of instrumented records. You don't play anything that's programmed, so I guess that's very difficult to mix as well.
Yeah, like when you DJing, like what they call like a lot of the house music or deep house music today, you can almost set the pitch control to the next record and go to the bathroom and come back and it's still blending, but when you're dealing with like music like this and real artists, when you're dealing with a real drummer and a keyboard player, it's almost like you're mixing 2 bands together. So it's like you're sitting here playing Queen and you gotta bring in the Dells, and Queen has never met the Dells, but you gotta, make them meet and make sure that you keep the people dancing on beat and that everything goes through. Like I notice now they have all this technology and they have programs that blend for you. But if they're not throwing it off on the right beat, like I see in the radios in Chicago, they are on the big radio stations, it's guys who can't blend. And they mixing like an old record with Michael Jackson and it's on beat, but it sounds terrible because it's off chord or it just don't go together. Some records just don't go together. And I see a lot of that is happening now with this new technology. People don't care. They're like, it's on beat, let it go. And you're like, no, man, you're killing the party. People have stopped dancing. Are you watching the people? It's different.
What's another common mistake among DJs?
Trying to sound like other DJs. I think every DJ got to just do him and make his own sound. And, people appreciate what you do. If you take it serious and you invest in the people, it's like they invest back in you. Like, it's weird when I see people and, they're like, oh my God, like, man, you did this, and that. And I'm like, my God, you did this, and that. Like watching you dance and the smiles on your face is what keep me going. A lot of people thinking like DJing is like an easy job and things like that. They don't see you when you're coming through the airport carrying all this vinyl and they're like, you can't get on a plane with that. Like, no, this falls down, it'll kill somebody and, this and that. And you're like, please, this is my job. If I don't have my records, there's no reason for me to travel. And, you're going through all of this and it's always work. Even when we set up clubs, we have to get in there, put up the light show, put up the disco ball, because there's an atmosphere to go with the party. And it's like now with everything changing, I come run out of a place in Chicago and the guy don't understand. He's like, well, I'll open the door 2-3 hours before the party, but why do you need to be here Monday? The party's not till Saturday. And I'm like, well, we have to clean up, we have to do this, we have to set up a sound system. And I'm setting up a 3-way sound system. So that's like bass, amps, mids, amps, highs, amps, crossover, everything is separated. But they don't understand none of that because they just had a guy coming there with a computer and 2 tripods and just did a party. So they're like, why can't you just do that? And I'm like, no, the party is an investment. You want people to have a good time. They come out, they spend their money with you, they spend their time with you. You want to make sure they're safe, because Chicago's a dangerous place. So, I don't just throw parties anywhere. People come up, man, I got a place, come over here. I'm like, I'm not trying to kill people. I'm trying to, throw parties, And it's work. It's never just like people think. It's never just always hanging out, kicking it, and playing music. It's a job.
So do you notice that nowadays the record players are not set up right anymore in clubs?
Always. You'd be lucky if you get to a club and they have record players, because a lot of people are going, digital. And the digital sound to me is just like terrible. It's not like the analog sound. But until you start really getting into the music, you don't hear that. Like they did a test a while back with birds, and they were like playing these birds on digital, and the other birds weren't responding. Then they played it on analog, and the birds are like looking for the other birds, And I'm like, yeah, they can hear it, It's different. Like a lot of clubs have these big expensive mixers, but they're terrible. They don't have like no kind of clarity. It's like distortion after the second or third hour, and it's really not good, this new technology, to me. I mean, like some things are okay, but some things is destroying the system. To me, it's destroying the DJs, because the younger DJs that's coming up, you come to them, even if you hear them playing something, you're like, man, that's a cut. And you come up, hey man, what's that? Oh, I don't know, I downloaded this. Okay, and you didn't find out what you downloaded it? I don't care, I got it. And it's like, it kills it. When you're going through a record store and you find the record and the artist, and you learning the stories and what they did and who played what instrument, it's just so different. It becomes a part of you. So I really can't get into this new digital DJ. Nothing against him. I mean, times change. He probably can't get into me. Like, why this old man carrying all these records around still, and he could just get a computer, but different times, different stages.
So what other things do you think have changed over the last 3 decades in the club industry?
Like for Chicago or like for the world?
Let's keep it in Chicago first.
Well, with Chicago, when I was growing up, I mean, like any party you came through, they had the big speakers, the big bass cabinets, bullet tweeters, light show. And now, these clubs call you, yeah, we want you to come through, and you come check it out. And it's just like little small speakers in the corner. It's not about the music or the party or none of that. It's about them making money at the bar. So, the music is like way background, and you're like, I can't even hear the music to blend. And they're like, oh, it's cool, place is packed, everyone loves it. And I'm like, no, they don't really understand. Like, it's almost like the Chicago clubs now is like for somewhere for you to come out and look for a date or somebody to go home and sleep with. It's like more of a sleep lounge. It's not a party lounge. People are not coming here to, yeah, I'm finna work out and sweat and let my hair down and have fun. Now it's more like, who am I gonna bring home tonight? Or who's available? It's not about the music. And to me, I'm like, if it's not gonna be right, I'd just rather not be there.
Have you ever been tempted to adjust your sets to the audience in a way that you had to compromise?
I haven't had to do that, I guess, because of the way that I play. Ever since I was young, I always played like real serious, real heavy, and like a lot of rare records and a lot of disco stuff. But I guess, if I would have probably like messed around and like a lot of my friends, a lot of them just went straight house because it was hard to keep up with the disco and the rare records and all of that. They're like, why do all of that when I could just go get these 10 top records off the shelf that everyone's approved and play them and the party's over. So it really depends on the individual. Like with me, I respect all DJs because it's like, it's a craft. It's like, your network. It's something that you do. But things that I prefer are different. Like a lot of DJs, even though I got love for them personally, I wouldn't go here at a club because I know what they're playing and I'm not into that kind of music. I'm an old man. I'm not out here trying to have a light stick and dancing at 128 beats per minute. And I can't do that, but I respect what they're doing. I can watch it for a while. Sometimes it's fun to see them and see the kids dancing, but it's a different dance now.
Play us a tune that makes your dance.
Something that I would love to dance to?
Yes, the SADAR BAHAR classic.
Now this is a 7-inch record. It also came out on 12-inch, but a lot of the 7-inches that I played never made it to 12-inch album. But this is one that did make it to 12-inch album, but not this version. The 7-inch version is different. You gotta make sure you hear it right. This is Microwave Boogie.
Right on the cage, she's good looking. She's busy microwave cooking. She's rushing to go to the nearest disco. My nickname is Sugar. Microwave boogie, boogie down. Microwave boogie down. Microwave boogie down. Microwave boogie down.
Yes.
Hey,
Hey, how you doing?
you told us earlier you were a regular at the Music Box. So have you witnessed Ron Hardy's DJing?
Yes, for many years. That's what kind of really like changed the way I DJ. Like when I was coming up, you know, I was trying to keep up with the big boys, but when I saw how Ron Hardy was playing, Ron was pretty much like gonna let you see how he was feeling that night, you know, and what was on his mind. And I always thank him for that. You know, every time I came to Ron Hardy's parties, you left there with like knowledge, you know, a good time, fun. It was like more than what I was getting from the other parties. So, yeah, I'm always giving it up to the older heads and the ones who came before me. Not like the kids today. They really don't care about the older heads or what went down, but I
depends.
always get them respect and I always get them, you know, thanks for, you know, making a way for all of us.
Yes.
Well, this next record, I was looking for I say probably like 10 years, and I couldn't find it nowhere, and it was really bothering me because this record was released in Chicago. So I'm like, you know, oh, this is really a kick in the butt. It's from my town, and I can't find this record, and I'm looking everywhere, couldn't find it. And a friend of mine, Hiro, in Japan, he was like, you know, SADAR, when you come to Japan next year, you know, come through and do my radio show, you know, come through my house, you know, play my radio thing. And I'm like, I really don't do internet, you know, radio shows and things like that, you know. I'm not really into the internet like that. And so I'm like, you know, I didn't really want to do it, but he was such a good friend and so cool. I was like, yeah, come on, man, we're going to do it. Let's go head over to your house. Let's do it. And then when I finished, he passed me this record that I've been looking for like 10 years. And I'm like, I just looked out, now you're gonna tease me, you know, and show me this shit, you know, like, you know, yeah, look what I got. But he was like, no, like guaranteed, like for you. And I'm like, what the, you know, I almost brought tears to my eyes because I'm like, it was like amazing, you know, it was like incredible. And he gave it to me just for doing this record set. So I guess I'm gonna share that record with y'all, let you hear that. And it's very rare.
I guess we could sit here all evening listening to your music. But maybe this is a good tease for Saturday evening when you will be playing at About Blank, together with Enrico, DJ Volkov,
Yes.
Jacob Korn, and a lot of other fine people at Get Deep About Blank.
Yes.
We have another guest coming up, so I guess we'll take a little break. But first up, please give it up for SADAR BAHAR for sharing those moments.
Thank you very much.